Okay, welcome back to Aussie S2S. Today we are going on the final trip of my Tasmania Redemption Tour. Last November we got completely washed out. I had some big plans and it didn't work out, and I've come back here this April to try and bag 7 Tasmanian summits in about the same number of days. This is the last day. We're going to Ben Nevis. I've had a bit of a look at the map. To me this looks like a fairly long walk. The elevation is not onerous. It looks quite nice. I'm not expecting it to be too challenging. The funny thing is though, whenever you say that, it just never turns out that way. I'll take you with me as I climb this mountain, and we'll get to this summit and we'll have a look. And at the end of it, I'll wrap it up and I'll let you know how it goes. Let's see if it is as easy as I think it's going to be. All right, before we get started though, I want to make a quick shout out to some amateur radio legends who took the time to comment on my last video. A special shout out to Matt, VK7MAT. He makes an effort to comment regularly and it's really appreciated. Paul, VK3HN, lets me know people are watching. Steve piped up because I've had a few contacts now with Steve, and that's VK3WSG. Over a period of time, that some of the same call signs start to pop up, and in some ways, you sort of get familiar with people. That's really cool. And as always, Dugbo from the United States is a fantastic supporter of the channel, which is great. And I should pop up his channel details here because he's got a great, thriving Summits on the Air channel with a really CW focus. He takes his camera out and gets some awesome footage from places that I would love to go one day. You guys are the ones who made those comments on the last video, and I say thank you. It was really good to see those comments pop up. So if you're planning a trip to Ben Nevis, I'm going to head up to the trailhead now and we'll get going. All right, so I've found the trailhead. You know what, this is actually really well marked. There's another sign down the other end which is sort of a little bit hard to read. Look at the fancy sign, but geez, that does the job, doesn't it? That's a beauty. And this is the trailhead heading up the summit. This road, which gets a few mentions in reviews, it's quite drivable. It's rough, there's rocks, but it's not a full drive track. I don't know what's going on up that end. And there's 2 spots here. I reckon you could easily park, you could get 3 cars in here. This is good. Check the weather out. I'm really optimistic about this. Okay, risky saying these things. Let's get that drone up and have a quick look. The tree line, have a look at that. That's the actual Ben Nevis summit over the back there. You can't quite see that from down on the road. That summit on the right there, that teases you because it looks like the summit, but no, you've got to get up through the saddle before you can make your way up to the actual summit. Oh, getting some strong wind warnings there. I'm getting strong wind warnings. Aircraft's unable to return home automatically. It's telling me to bring it back manually. I haven't had that message before. Let's have a look. Yep, let's bring this baby down. Let's have a look at the track while we... Yep. That wind is strong, yeah. All right, so throwing the drone up didn't shed a lot of light on that. Those winds forced me to bring it down. Yeah, pretty strange. It's not very windy down here at the start of the trail, but obviously over the tree line it is. Hopefully it's not too windy on the summit. Anyway, let's make a move. Let's get up this track and get this show on the road. That's 300 metres of pathway and about 50 metres of ascent. And it's just this nice forest single track, but I've noticed a significant change in the elevation or the steepness of the track. Yep. Oh, and the trees are rubbing together. Yeah, so at this point looks like she's starting to go uphill at a much steeper grade. Ooh. All right, anything I said about this being an easy walk, severely wrong about that. Look, it's steep, that's all.
100 meters elevation over 500 meters walking. So the gradient's, what's that, 20%, something like that. That's pretty good. And it's tight. These bushes are tight. Yep, made that mistake. Get a bit scratched up again. Probably should have worn long sleeves. You know, that'll give the haters something to talk about. Here you go. All the Karens and Kevins though on this track. That's about the 5th bunch of trees across, fallen trees across the track. So, yep. For those people with no life, get onto Google. 1-star rating, not good enough. Yeah. What to say? Get a life. Yeah. All right, this is not Sandbanks tier Rocky. Certainly not Mount Field East Rocky. But this would be enough to get complaints out of anyone who was, you know, of the shorter leg variety. If you know anyone like that, I reckon they'd complain about these rocks. This out. I'm just under 1200 meters. I've just spent, I don't know, 20 minutes in this tea tree. I just gotta say, this tea tree sucks. I've just lost my favorite knife and I've spent way too long looking around here. I even lost myself. I don't know what's going on with these markers, but this little bit of the track is no fun. Right, what am I up to? 327 meters of ascent so far. Puts me 3/4 of the way up. Now I've got to tell you, I take back everything I said about this little track. This tea tree stuff leading up into the saddle is horrible. I am now scratched up more than yesterday. Oh, a couple of locals just walked past me like I was standing still laughing at me because I'm working up a sweat. And I must admit, because they're 7 days into this trip now, don't have the energy I had 7 days ago. But this is nearly it. We are nearly there. As usual, the other thing that's going on back in that tea tree is some really freaking steep rocks. So they're the bits of the video you just don't do because you can't hold the camera and scale those rocks at the same time. Yeah, take my word for it. All right, I'm really spewing about losing that knife. It was just a good Columbia River Knife and Tool Company, general purpose. So if you want to get down there and have a scruff around in that tea tree, you might be the lucky recipient of a new one. In the meantime, have a look at this. I've ended up on this plateau in the saddle, and it's like a swamp. A little bit unexpected, this, and really out of the weather as well. And as always, the track's a little bit deceptive. I'm getting glimpses of the summit on the horizon there, and it sort of looks really close. But truthfully, when I look at the map, yeah, there's still a fair way to go. There's a bit of a dogleg in the trap. Far away. can see the trig marker in the background. It's pretty impressive here. I'm at 1368 at the moment, so I'm not in the activation zone yet, but I am in this little saddle which keeps me out of the wind. So I'm hoping that I can set up out of the wind. But anyway, I'm going to get up to the summit, but interesting. Alright, here I am at the trig marker on Ben Nevis, northern Tasmania. Bit of a hazy day, so it's a bit hard to see all the summits out there. There were a few times coming up there where I would have liked to have turned back. Yeah. But that wasn't what I got. Oh.
Are you in some kind of club or something?
Yeah, it is. Alright, so here we are, Ben Nevis. Alright, so we've got the extendable spider-man pole with the inverted V set up here. This is not a bad spot and we're just out of the wind. I'll hook this up now and let's see how this works. Had some help from some locals. Give them a wave. Yay, thanks guys. So here we are, Ben Nevis. I've already managed to pick up 8 QSOs on 40 metres, which is great. So activation complete. This is one you got to work for, no doubt about it. A couple of locals were up here and actually helped me set up the antenna, which was really cool. They were a bit fascinated and they were a little bit confused because they were trying to work out why would we do this? Why not just pick up a mobile phone? And I think, yeah, I get why they say that. And you know, I don't know what the best answer is for that, because it's fun, because we do it for the, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't worked it out myself yet. But anyway, they've just headed off. I'm not surprised. This track takes a little while to navigate. And I might just switch up and try a couple other frequencies and see how I go. All right, battery just died. So time to pack up, let's go. All right, so a little bit of a word of warning on the trip down. Have a look at this detour I took. It's really easy to lose the track and that doesn't look like much on the map. Yeah, but in real life, that was a very unpleasant detour. I have just finished that walk, the Ben Nevis walking track and back, and comments right now is this. I challenge anyone to get up there and back and not get lost, at least once. If I was to calculate it, I'll have a look at the GPS track later. I reckon I lost an hour just walking what looks like the track. You walk off in a different direction, you find yourself just heading the wrong way. And only for the GPS would you ever know. The forest is thick and scratchy. There's plenty of rock scrambling. Yep. It's like the landscape changes. You go from, you know, thick forest, rock scrambling, you end up in this swampy sort of marshy stuff for a while, and then you've got the rocks to the top. Views from the top, spectacular. I wouldn't do this one again unless I was fresh. That's actually a really hard walk. They say 5 hours, and that's fair. Yeah, that's a good 5 hours of work.
Whoa, all right. I've had some time to recover from that one. That is Ben Nevis wrapped up. There were a few lessons learned. That was a great day out though. I liked that one because it was tough. It was a hard challenge, and I think that makes it worthwhile at the end of the day. Dealing with those challenges, doing that hard work, having some wins and losses, this is what SOTA is about in many ways. It's the challenge. And those guys that I met on the mountain and they asked me, why do we do this? That got me thinking about it. And I think this is part of it. It's like you go out, there's a whole lot going on when you're out there doing SOTA activations. That is worthwhile. You know, you get to the end of the day, like this summit in particular, yeah, it was an unexpected outcome. The track was a lot harder than I anticipated, and between losing gear, lost my favourite knife, I actually lost a glove. I've got no idea where that thing's gone. Yeah, lost it up there. So there you go, they're up there to be taken if you find them. Good luck to you. As for the Tasmanian Redemption Tour, on this trip I've had 7 successful activations, which is roughly 1 for each day. So with this Tasmanian Redemption Tour wrapped up and successful, And I've got to say, it's only possible because of the hams out there who get on the radio and do the chasing and help us with these QSO contacts. If it wasn't for the people sitting in their shacks and or getting out on the summits, that wouldn't even happen. So I'm really appreciative of everybody who was out there and did bother to jump on air and say hello. And with that said, if you have the time to make a comment on the video, you know that I don't do that whole like and subscribe thing, because it's just really about sharing the SOTA adventure, maybe inspiring some people to participate. Maybe it's about a little bit of reminiscing for those of you who've been out and done these summits and for whatever reason are stuck at home at the moment. All right, I'm heading back to Victoria now, getting into the bonus points winter season. So I look forward to that, and we look forward to seeing you back soon.